All right, you guys. I know this isn't ideal. I just want to apologize. I am exhausted. I'm not gonna lie. Um, my wife was tested positive on Friday. My 3-year-old son, who's unvaccinated, tested positive on Sunday, and it's been a tidal wave of a weekend. So I meant to make a better video, but right now I'm going to talk through the notes, um, and hopefully my tentative plan is to return on Thursday to go over questions. I'll be available as best possible throughout the day, but I'm not going to lie. I don't know how much time I'm going to have between, trying to stay quarantined and separate and then trying to make meals and do all that other stuff. So, um, you're going to look at distributions of data today. Today is a lot of calculator stuff. So for those of you that have the TI 84, you're going to see and recognize the keystrokes. Those of you that don't have a TI 84, um, borrow one from a friend. Otherwise, I know some students have found an app. It's like a free TI 84 calculator emulator for your phone. A few students in class I know I've seen have used it. So talk to your classmates if they know what the app is, because it works exactly the same as the TI-84 calculator. So today, basically what you're looking at is distributions of data. The two things we're going to talk about and look at today are histograms and box and whisker plots. So first things first, we're looking at symmetric distributions, positively skewed and negatively skewed distributions. So with histograms, kind of looking at the tail is going to tell you which way to go. So if it tails to the left, that's going to be a negatively skewed distribution, which means the mean is lower than the median. Okay, so your data skews left of the middle, if that makes sense. Okay, positively skewed data, your histogram is going to be tailing to the right. Okay, so it's just a good idea to keep those in mind. Again, if the median or mean is less than the median, it's negatively skewed. If the mean is higher than the median, it would make sense that it's positively skewed. Okay, so when we're choosing to represent data today in your homework, if the data is relatively symmetric, you're going to want to use your mean and standard deviation. Okay. If your data is a little more skewed or has outliers, it's important to use our 5-number summary, which we're going to go over both of those situations. All right. So first things first, we did a little calculator work with mean, median, mode, and finding those one variable stats, which is helpful. Now we're going to go into histogram and box and whisker. So it's kind of the same setup. So you go through to stat, and you're going to edit. You're going to compile your list. You're going to turn your plot on. That's the third window here. You're going to want to make sure it's the histogram, which is the third one over. And then with all of your data, you guys, you need to reset your window each time to fit your data. Okay. So you can see we went from 0 to 1,000 in this case, in terms of my X values. And then we just went from 0 to 10. Typically 0 to 10 on the Y is going to get all of your information. Okay. So yeah, all you have to do then is once you go to the window, you can hit graph and it's going to throw this up. You can see this one kind of tails off to the right. So this is going to be a positively skewed distribution. Remember, if we're looking at positively skewed distribution, the skewed distribution, it's important to use our 5-number summary, which again, we can run our one variable stats, which we did on Friday with. So our list is already set up in L1. We can run that one variable stat program and get our 5-number summary. Our 5-number summary again contains the minimum, the quartile 1, our median, our quartile 2, and our maximum. Okay. And then it just says justify your reason. Because it's skewed, we're going to use the 5-number summary. Half the data is between that quartile 1 and 3. Our lowest value is 374. Our highest value is 915. Really super easy explanation in terms of how that works. Okay. It's like, I mean, you're just reading the data basically. It's nothing, you have to go into some like higher level analysis on those. It's just state what you see. Okay. The second type of distribution display you're going to look at today is a box and whisker plot. Very similarly to the histograms. Okay, if more of our data is left of our median, remember, with our box and whisker plots, we have our minimum, our quartile 1, our median, our quartile 3, and our maximum. So if half the data is below the median, we have this big tail here. That's going to be negatively skewed. Relatively symmetric is here. And then if we have half our data that takes up all this space, it's going to be more positively skewed. Okay, that means, again, our mean would be higher than our median. Okay, so as we go into example 2, same setup as before. Okay, just like you did on Friday, we go to edit, stat, edit, type in your list. Okay, this time when we go to turn our plot on, you want to select the fourth over, which is the box and whisker plot with any outliers. Again, adjust your window accordingly. So it looks like our data here fits between 30 and 75. So we chose as such. The Y scale, not as important on these ones, obviously, because you're kind of looking at those X values. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So yeah, just make sure your X values fit that window, and then you can hit graph and we'll pull it up. Looking at this one, it's relatively symmetric. Our median is kind of right in the middle. Quartile 1 and 3 basically have the same size box. The tails to our max and min are basically the same. So I would say this data is relatively symmetric, which means I can use my mean and standard deviation. Again, we can run the one variable stat, and that's going to be the top portion of our report. So this data has a mean of 53.5 and a standard deviation of 10.5. All right. As we continue on, all right, just comparing the two. All right, example 3, we set up I didn't include the screenshots, but we set up the information. Here's our data. They're both relatively symmetric, so we can use the mean and standard deviation when we're comparing these two. Okay, it's important to notice that the means, X bar, are relatively close to each other. But if you notice, the standard deviation of chapter 4 is a lot smaller. Okay, so kind of what that means is, our means are about the same, but the spread of students on the chapter 4 test is a lot more confined than the chapter 3 scores. All right, so that's just kind of getting at the spread of students. All right, looking at example 4, we do the same thing, but we're setting up our box and whisker plots. Notice these are relatively skewed. Okay, so we're going to use our 5-number summary. Looking at this, I notice the quartile 1 and quartile 3 of 2 are the same. Okay, so that essentially means that quartile 1 with 2008, quartile 3 of 2009, it just means there are significantly more points scored during that 2008 season because those points are obviously different. If we look, our median, and this one is 27, the median, this one's 11.5. There's a lot more points scored in that 2008 season. We have higher quartiles, higher mean, quartile 1, quartile 3, etc. Okay. Again, I apologize. Not the most thorough video by any means. Trying to figure things out here. So use the weekly discussion board on our Schoology page in week 9. I'll try to get through questions throughout the day. I know I can't be there to help. I am truly sorry. But I'm dealing with stuff here too, so I hope you can at least understand that. So wish you the best on things. Hopefully I can be back. Thursday is the tentative plan right now, but we're taking things day by day, and I have to test every morning. So we'll see how things go. I'll keep you posted.